What we talking about today?
A few technical difficulties starting this bitch off, right?
We still in this bitch.
We in this
ain't going
motherfucker.
nowhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unusual Suspects podcast. We are back in the building. We are ready. We're in charge. It's Friday, baby.
It's Friday.
It's the weekend.
It feels good.
And it's always time to get some shit off your chest, you know.
Yeah. I think mainly because it's hot as fuck outside, man.
Yo.
God damn. You remember
Yeah.
that like 2 days ago it was just like swampy?
Right.
That hot swampy shit? God damn, crazy.
I was outside at like 8 o'clock at night. And it's like, yo, why am I sweating right now?
Yo, it was very disrespectful. But what I will say to the viewers, the reason why I'm wearing a hoodie is because it's nice and cool in here. And I'm used to,
you know, gotta
you
get
protect
AC.
yourself. You know what I mean? This Henny's going to protect me too as well.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, I am your man, Jared Bruce, a.k.a. J Music, and I got my man, Corey Will, in the building.
Absolutely. Brat.
And, you know, Unusual Suspects podcast brought to you by Dream Magic Studios, King Jedi, Black Kennedy, the whole family.
Absolutely.
We are all out here. We are all trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
We trying to flip this shit, man. You know what it is, man. Trying to own my own shit, man. Y'all listen to 444. Y'all know what's going down, man.
Hell yeah. Yo, so the album, did you see the story about how apparently the address for the bar that they were at, it was like 444, whatever the street name was.
I think that may be serendipity because when they asked Jay-Z about it, he was just like, he didn't even know.
Right.
He was just saying that he was waking up at 4:44 every morning.
There's no way he didn't know.
I mean, come on.
There's no way he didn't know.
Yeah, he knew
Hell.
that shit. The place where Solange laid into his ass.
Yeah, put his ass in check. He had to reevaluate real quick.
Shit. Yeah, I wanted the whole dynamic of that relationship because you would think that Beyonce is like the alpha wilding out,
Right.
but Solange, like, Beyonce was quiet. Mm-hmm. That shit was crazy.
Because Solange is the younger sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's how you know when you have a solid family. You did what? You just start swinging. Like.
And yo, here's a crazy shit too. The security let it happen.
Watch, before they got in the elevator, Beyonce was like, look, some shit about to go down. Don't do nothing.
Don't you jump in. No, but he's smart enough to know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Michelle was swinging on Barack, Secret Service would be smart enough to know
hell
you
yeah.
can't put your hands on Michelle.
Just let her get that out.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Let him take a couple blows.
They close the door, they just turn their back. And... That's
like,
crazy.
Damn, the Obama's bugging. Nah.
That shit is crazy.
No, but it's also dope to see that, you know, for everything that did happen, they seem to they still have a solid relationship with everybody in the family, and it's not a point of contention anymore, at least appearances.
Yeah, and I think that now Jay-Z, at the young, tender age of 60, has realized that it's time for a man to settle down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It took him a little while, but he finally got the message.
I think with all that money, though, like, he got so much fucking money. He is so... With money, more problems because you have so many more options.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're used to a certain life. It's just muscle memory. You know what I mean? It's that's horrible.
Yeah. That's why, look, it's one of those things, if you're going to... Well, most people won't know.
Yeah.
But you're ever in that career path where you might be one of those really sought out people, or you're just going to have a shitload of money. Mm-hmm. It's either you settle down before... Because if you try and settle down after, it's not that it's impossible, but you're going to have a hell of a time
and then
finding the right one that's, you know...
That's understanding.
It's understanding, and one that you're actually willing to put away all that shit that you're used to.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough sell for some people.
Who was the dude who took his wife on the road? Because he had to. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, nah, I need you here. With the baby. Maybe it was Jay. Jay mentioned that in the album where he just like, no, he mentioned that in the bonus footage on Tidal where it was so gangster. He had a room full of men and they were discussing relationships and growing into manhood and how he was saying it was the first time like they were getting into fights. You know what I'm saying? So you got Tata, you got Jay, you got
Bleak
Jimmy
and
Douglas.
all, yeah.
You got all these people around, like Lenny S. You got all these people. It's just like 15 men in a room,
Right.
and they're discussing relationships and how to be better men. And he was saying how like he was beefing with his wife and all this shit was going on, and the whole Becky situation,
Right.
and how they went on vacation, and how it, like everything was beautiful,
Right.
and then he was just like, "Damn, you got to leave? Like you got to go to Rome to do a show? Like yo, fuck that show." You know what I'm saying? It was the
Right.
first time he caught himself like, "Oh shit! Like I want to make this work."
Yeah.
That shit crazy, man.
That's wild.
Some powerful
that's
shit.
probably like one of the first times, because think about all the artists that go on tour. They're not going on tour with like a group of men that have gone through a lot of experiences and they can actually talk about a lot of that stuff, like real life stuff.
Yeah.
You're going on tour with a bunch of kids that want to party and
Yeah, and
you in the
niggas who never
club,
had it
you
before, and they're
chicks.
trying to
you wilding out the whole time.
But then another thing too is like, I've dealt with artists that I cared about,
Right.
and I'll catch them fucked up in a corner at a strip club, and
Yeah.
I'll walk over like, "Yo, give me your chain and your wallet right now."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because then you can kind of see the situations where you got you look out for each other. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's that grown man shit, dude.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's got to be the new move. That has to be the new wave.
We were almost there, and then all of a sudden, the bullshit wave came in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's see whether or not we can maintain that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see a lot more niggas now holding money up to their ear. More so now. Drake did that shit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, hold on. Like, I kind of see what they're doing, but y'all kind of missing the point.
The Molly. I say that Molly kicking in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, yeah.
Okay. All right, this has absolutely nothing to do with our topic.
Zero to do.
Yo, we just had a meeting about, okay, look, we got to stay on topic.
Focus.
All right? The
Yeah.
show is only going to be an hour.
It was about me, folks. I'm the nigga that'll send your ass to the left. You hear me? I'm doing it now. Right now I'm doing it. But yeah, we have to stay on topic.
Okay, all right. So today, this is going to be a little bit of a broad topic, but I am going to ask kind of a specific question that's going to kind of guide how we go about this. So today we're really going to be talking about activism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way I want to frame it is because this is a question that I've asked myself a lot over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an answer for it. I probably won't have an answer for it for a while. But basically, at one point, through celebrity, through money, I'm saying when people become rich, become wealthy, at one point, does it become a requirement or responsibility more so to be an activist?
Ooh.
When you see, so now obviously activism covers a wide range of topics, right? If you're a guy that, you know, you're well off, you're a celebrity, you're sought after, you're making money, and there's something that you see happen, you know, maybe it happens to people that look like you, maybe it happens to people who are from the same neighborhood as you, and you're seeing an injustice, at one point, is it a responsibility for that person to step in and not just be a bystander?
Damn.
That's a tough ass question.
It's a tough question because
I think this GoPro's off. I don't see nothing.
oh no, it's going.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
I think that it is. There's certain levels to activism, right? Like you may not, and I think we mentioned this before, like in the green room, right? Like we mentioned, like Young Thug, how like Young
That's a
Thug,
good example.
how he was like interviewed, and he said, "How do you feel about Black Lives Matter?" He was like, "Hey, I'm just talking about all these diamonds, these chains, and these things. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to say focus on the music." Now, some would say that he's wrong because, you know, his cousins, his people in his community are getting killed. But other people are saying, like, do you really want Young Thug giving a synopsis, you know what I'm saying, on the Black Lives Matter and how it affects, like, young black men? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, while he's on, like, the red carpet at
It's like the BET Awards or
at the Urban Source Awards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? But I will say this: there's other ways that he can maneuver. Like he can invest in education. He could donate computers, so he can move. I'm a strong proponent of the revolution shall not be televised.
Exactly.
So, like, there are certain people who should be out in the forefront, who should be talking, like the Colin Kaepernicks and the, you know what I mean, like the D. Ray Davises and the, you know what I mean, the people who are like coherent enough to give
actually articulate
their point. But you know,
yeah, I definitely understand that point, because I guess this question has a lot to do with idealism, because ideally you want an activist to be well educated about that specific topic that they're they're noticing this injustice that they're trying to correct, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to organize, they're trying to protest, gather petitions to either change a law or change a business practice that will stop an injustice and potentially help people. But the problem is there's a lot of people who are very uneducated about certain things. They have no real desire to become educated on it. And it's actually probably more in that causes benefit for that person to just stay quiet about it.
You know why though, right? I just thought about this.
Why?
So let's just say you get someone like, who would be a perfect example? Who turns up all the fucking time and gets in trouble? Perfect example. Black Youngster.
Okay.
You guys may not know who Black Youngster is, but those of my listeners who don't, he is a young, I guess you can call him a mumble rapper.
Yeah.
Gangster, mumble, hood, trap rapper,
yeah,
right? He walks around with money all the time. In his ear, he's throwing money all the time. Now, would you want him to go on CNN and talk about black activism? Now, I've seen this happen before. Guess when I seen this?
Where?
In it was either Philly or Detroit, right? And they were talking about gang violence raising in Philly and Detroit, and they were talking about it, and they had all these correspondents. Well, these guys are thugs, they're dangerous, like we need to go in with the armed forces. And guess who they had on the opposing end? Snoopy from The Wire.
Wow.
And she talked like, I just want them to stop killing us. Now, I'm not saying that her point is not valid, because it is. And I'm not saying that she isn't the perfect person for that. Right. But is she the perfect person for that?
Right. So, yeah.
Shout out to Snoopy. Shout out to The Wire. You know.
Yeah, we still love The Wire. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, because I don't like the idea of telling people you can't speak up about this stuff just because you're not as articulate as some people, you're not as educated as other people. I don't think that's the right approach, because you actually end up pushing away potential allies. And also, one of the big aspects of activism, it needs to be organic, and it needs to come from people who are actually affected by it.
That's true.
You need allies outside of it. You know, sometimes you need financial backing, or you need someone who's big enough to say, hey, listen to that person. Because even if they're not the voice, they say, hey, I have a platform, but I want you guys to listen to this person who has experienced it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's helpful. So it's tough not to demonize certain people. But at the same time, believe me, I'll honestly say I wouldn't want Young Thug to be the guy, to be the face of the Black Lives Matter or the Black Power movement.
Because you can probably,
I don't think that would be effective.
You can now. I wouldn't mind him being on a panel,
of course,
but he's not going to be up against like a professional talking head.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
because even if you put him on like Fox News, and like I don't
no, he'll be on Fox News. Like they'll put him on Fox News.
They'll put him on, but I'm saying. Yeah. If you put him on with like a Sean Hannity or whatever, I'm not saying Sean Hannity is like the smartest guy in the world, but he knows how to spin and he knows how to flip shit on you. Yeah. You put a guy like Young Thug in front of him, that interview's not going to go well. And it's actually going to make Young Thug and whatever movement he's representing look bad.
So at that point, even if it came down to whether or not you believe, and shout out to Young Thug, that's my dude. He's been a really cool, you know what I'm saying? I worked with him for a while.
Yeah,
you know
talented. I mean? You can't take that from him.
But you may say that might even be a double-edged sword both against you.
Yeah.
So while he's trying to help, people are looking at him like, hey, yo, look at this fucking Young Thug. And then it'll also, because Young Thug is also like a donate to community, but it may also like fuck with another young black male's sales and business, and he's employing other people. You know what I mean? So
because at the end of the day, it's about perspective, and you're working with the perspectives of people who already don't agree with you. Because a lot of times, like we've gotten to a point where we're so divisive in this country that people set their they stand their ground on opposite sides a lot of times before they even really hear the issue.
Oh yeah, of course.
They just hear certain buzzwords and say, "Oh no, I'm
or
on
they
this
might
side."
even see an interview and be like, "I don't like that bitch."
Yeah,
yeah.
They're not even listening to the argument. Like, "Oh no, I'm not a part of that. I'm on this side." So you're fighting against people's perspectives. You're fighting against people's uneducated perspectives because they don't want to be educated on specific topics.
Absolutely.
And that's where it gets difficult.
And I think this is right here. And I'll say this too. I still think that there is a multi-million, maybe close to $1 billion war being waged, right? And if you think about like the wars being waged against a war of perception is being waged, right? So at that point, if it's a war, you don't just say, "Hey, you guys should play fair. Like, let my friend talk who's from the neighborhood." No, you have to play strategically in order to maneuver in those type of situations.
Yeah,
it sucks.
It does,
but you have to play strategically because they play strategically.
Yeah, that's the difficult part because a lot of activism does have to do with strategy, and unfortunately. Like, okay, if someone ever told you, "Oh, I'm a professional activist," you would look at them funny, right? You'd be like,
"Yeah, come on.
What does that mean?
Come on,
like, you're getting paid off of being an activist."
Yeah.
This is actually another really good kind of conundrum that we get caught up in. So, are we saying that activists shouldn't make money?
Ooh, come on, son. Because
think about it.
No, that's some real shit. Like, that's some real shit. Because then, no, go ahead.
So, okay, let's say you're one of the guys. You were at Ferguson from day one. Because some of those people literally they took buses and trains down from a couple cities over, a couple states over because they saw what happened with Mike Brown. They came down to Ferguson
and made money.
Well, not necessarily making money, but I'm saying that they came
to fight,
to protest, and do what they felt was right.
Yeah.
Some of them risked job opportunities. Or some of them might had to quit their job for a period of time because some people were actually out there for quite a while.
I knew someone who almost got fired at my job because he wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're actually fighting against your boss might not agree with what you're standing up against. And you said, "Oh, well, I'm not paying you." So like they're putting their livelihood on the line to go stand up for something. So then how does that person sustain themselves? They still have to go out and protest. You got to make signs. You got to travel back and forth.
I'll be honest with you.
How do you make money?
The most profitable business is a nonprofit.
That is
in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, hey.
In certain ways, if you know how to finesse the system. But here's what I'll say. I'll say, in those instances, in a perfect world, that makes sense, right? Like in a perfect world, someone loses their job, they organize, like the ACLU. Like how they get certain, like
it's almost all
the
donations.
the minute Trump became president,
donations just shot up.
Woo!
Especially at the beginning of the travel ban.
Oh yeah,
because they were really the main ones that stepped up. Because a lot of those immigrants that were stuck at airports, they needed lawyers.
Offering
so
lawyers
they started,
for that.
all these lawyers are showing up and offering their legal services.
Yeah.
So once people saw that and said, "We like what you're doing," so people just started
investing,
donating money.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, that makes sense.
So in a perfect world, that makes sense. Right. But then there are also shills of the government. No, no. Like there are also like situations where there are people who will jump from fight to fight in order to make money.
Right.
Like for perfect example. Oh my God, this is a perfect example.
What about the name? Because I have a name in my head.
I was about to name Latinas for Trump.
Ah, that is a good one.
Latinas for Trump.
Okay.
Check this story out, guys. Right. Latinas for Trump is an activist group that wanted to support, like they believed in Trump. Quotation fingers, right? Yeah. They got paid. Trump actually pointed out, "Hey, yo, look, Latinas, right."
Yeah.
But here's a crazy shit. Here's the jump where it comes down to money and selective activism, monetized activism, right? They went from there. Then all of a sudden, when they had the Women's March on Washington, right?
Right.
They had all these different groups that wanted to go up and speak. Like, remember, like Madonna spoke and all this stuff happened, right? This girl got up there who was about to speak, and she got cleared. Come to find out that she was originally one of the main chicks holding up the sign for Latinos for Trump.
And she flipped sides.
She jumped because she wanted to, not even 2 months, because she is, her job is activism. She gets paid, monetized activism. And that's how they flip it.
So, okay. All right. I'll rebuttal with that because I like where you're going with that. Would you trust an organization like the ACLU? Like, okay, let's say there was a cause.
I trust no man, but continue. That's just how I get down. I don't trust no man.
Let's say there was a cause that you're very passionate about, right? Call it cancer research, whatever. Mm-hmm. Are you more likely, and let's say you set aside, $50 you want to donate somewhere.
Okay.
Would you trust an organization that has a history of participating in different causes, activism, some organization like the ACLU, or a guy who gets up and says, hey, I want to quit my job and dedicate this next year to going out protesting and organizing with people and fighting for cancer research?
One thing I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm not a cheap person, but I am, I consider myself somewhat woke, okay? And being awake, I know that my money has power.
Right.
And for example, Ethereum or Bitcoin, right? Which we should definitely talk about.
Yeah, we got cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrencies, exactly. But when you invest your money, it is still an investment. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is I would walk up to ACLU. It's like, hey, can you guys give me a tour? I would like to donate money, but I want to learn more about how you guys do operational funds with your donations.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. The same way with the guy was just like, oh my God, I kind of believe in you. Like, I would like to talk to you more about what you plan on do. Like, what's your business plan? Like, what is your mode of operation? You know what I'm saying? I would do research before I do any investment in anything.
Okay. That's a fair response. It's a very calculated way of approaching it. But
I'm not cheap. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just respect my money.
$50.
Black dollars.
What kind of cancer y'all trying to kill? What is he?
What you trying to do?
They ain't got no medicine for that shit yet?
Is it zombies? The fuck on Walking Dead? What the fuck going on, man? I need $50? God damn. Shit.
Okay.
That's some real shit though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey. But see, no, and look, there's no wrong answer to that.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is me.
Know who you're funding.
You should know.
Yeah.
I would lean towards an organization. And I think most people would put their money towards, like probably 90% of people would put their money towards an organization. Because I see a lot of people do that blindly. They say, oh, I really like this cause. I recognize the ACLU. They've probably never done any real research.
Yeah,
I recognize this organization. I recognize the Red Cross. I'll put in $5-10. And they'll do that kind of quickly and not really thinking about it. If a guy says, hey, I'm going to start organizing and protesting, I'll even start a website and I'll upload monthly spreadsheets of how I'm spending the money. People wouldn't really trust that nearly as much.
This is true. But.
And there's nothing wrong with not
trusting.
Because I don't really blame him.
Eric Garner. His daughters did that.
Yeah.
Jay-Z donated a lot of money to the Daughters Foundation.
Yeah, well,
so at that point, like she was, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to focus in on protesting and spreading information. I'm going to start traveling and this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And that's when you have it was Beyonce, I think, who donated money to that cause. Yeah. You know what I mean?
See, okay. Now that I'm all for. Yeah. Because that's one of those cases where obviously she's directly affected by it.
But if a nigga from Inglewood is going to walk up like, hey, man, fuck this job, man.
I don't like how they treat people
out on these streets. These LAPDs and bullshit, man. I had less than an eighth, man. This nigga pulled me right over, man. It's some bullshit, man.
That is terrible. But no, That's
but
what
you're
it's
right.
like,
You're right.
But that's what it comes down to. It comes down to perception, right?
Yeah.
Because people want to believe that
We gotta break perception too. God damn.
it's
That's where
hard
the
to-
activism should be at. God damn, right?
So okay, all right. So getting back to activism, obviously perception is a huge key factor in how people donate their money, how people spend their time, and what causes that they focus on. So
Niggas be hamming it up though to get them to get the donations, but you got to sometimes, right?
you have to, but okay, I've always had an issue with all these like really high profile charities where it's like, they say it could be cancer research, it could be autism research, whatever, but they're throwing like these really extravagant
Shout out to the
galas
Rush
and
Foundation.
balls. Shout out to Russell Simmons.
Brat. So namaste, brat.
So, they throw like these really expensive, big events to raise money, and, they charge $10,000 a plate or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Obviously, it's going for a niche market where you can generate more money because you're targeting elite people that have a bunch of money.
The semi-woke rich white people.
Right.
Who are too scared to go to Compton or ATL or the Bottom or whatever.
Like, they can go to a nice dinner party and they can part with $2,000 or $5,000 that night.
Or 200, 200 grand sometimes.
Yeah. Just to say, hey, take a shot at it.
Yeah.
But I almost think that there's more power in, even if you're going after smaller amounts of money. This is like the whole Bernie Sanders thing.
Shout out to Barack Obama. He was the first one that was like coming up on like 72 cents. He was getting 47 million 72 cent donations.
Right. It's like, look, I saved $3 this week. I'm gonna send it over to you, okay? It's in the mail and get there in 4 days.
Nigga went in, but you have to respect. You're right.
Right. I almost kind of respect going for the masses. And okay, let's say you're going after,
white people saying that nigga was begging. No, I'm just playing. I'm not playing. That's exactly what them white people.
That's right. This is why we get sidetracked.
It's my fault. You see? This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's my fault.
But like, okay, if you went after everybody, say, look, everybody donate $10, right?
Yeah.
But you go for the masses and you go for, if I can get 10 million people to do that, as opposed to, let me throw an event with, 100 people and everyone donates, $10,000 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in that short period of time, you can generate a lot of money. But I always feel like all that overhead costs and, you have all these like big executives making a whole bunch of money. Mm-hmm. There was you remember the Ice Bucket Challenge? And okay, it was raising money for research for ALS. Mm-hmm. And then a couple months later, there's a story coming out that the executives on the board of this charity are making like $1 million on their payroll.
Easy.
So then it becomes, okay.
Legally.
Right. Because it's legal doing a nonprofit that way.
Yeah.
So where does it, okay, if we can rationalize those people making money from activism, why can't the little guy that quits his job, goes down to Ferguson, goes to Baltimore and protests, why is there a stigma about that person making money? Because D-Ray, that was one of the first accusations that they threw his way and said, that you're just a paid activist. Well, if you're an executive on a charity, you're essentially the same thing. You're just a millionaire now. Why is there no stigma around that as opposed to a guy that says, I'm going to essentially stop my normal life and now I'm going to pursue something that I feel is very important and it can't wait?
I think I know why. I think ultimately he's a nigga. Listen, we here at Unusual Suspects podcast, Unusual S.
It's Unusual Suspects. Hey, follow us on social media, Unusual S Podcast.
The reason we are very honest and forthright is because he's a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a black male, people don't. Ultimately, I don't think that they want. I don't see the powers that be want an equal playing field. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? And they use their own dirt and their own weaknesses and turn it back on us. You know what I mean? Like, perfect example, like with Obama getting paid for speeches. You know what I mean? Like, that has been like the staple of presidents.
Yeah, that's the standard.
Since the beginning of time.
Any politician, will make money off of speech engagements. But the fact that they'll target someone like Obama or Michelle Obama for making money off of speeches. I mean, to be honest, I'm not big on defending Hillary Clinton, but that was one of the main things that people were attacking for. Oh, you made a bunch of money giving speeches, but what other politician, what other former head of state, secretary of state, national security advisor, who else hasn't gotten money from speaking engagements?
But here's what's gangster. They will make money from Wall Street and donate that money to Detroit. That shit is crazy. Go. But yo, I'll tell you one thing. Like, I'm about to flip the coin, right? Okay. I feel that if one side can make money, both sides can make money.
Yeah.
And what I'm speaking about specifically is Alex Jones.
That is a great fucking point.
Right? If D-Ray can make money, then Alex Jones, he can go in there and say, like, you know, the shape-shifting Hillary Clinton and the Clintons
the reptilians
they're drinking baby's blood.
They infiltrated D.C. in 1837.
Exactly. And what you need to do, right? You have all these sounds coming in from space, but if you drink this drink that I'm selling for $19.99, you know what I mean? Like, let him make his money. Like, fuck it. Like,
yeah. I mean, look.
It's not fair, but, you know, you have to be balanced from your perspective of Republican, conservative, Democratic, and liberal, you know?
Yeah.
It's not fair, but the world isn't fair, right?
Yeah, but look, in this country, we do have freedom of speech. Right?
Exactly.
So
freedom of enterprise, unfortunately.
Right. So, because on one end, right, you see people that are free to say whatever they want. They can monetize it, make money off it. I.e. guys like Alex Jones, right?
Yeah.
He can create his own podcast, website, sell merchandise, and he can just talk about all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories and scream in front of the camera.
Milo did the same thing.
Exactly. And he can make money. But see, now when you're on the flip side of that, when I guess you're more on the liberal or the progressive side, there is a stigma about monetizing your viewpoints. Even if sometimes some of those people will go off the rails. They will have their own left-wing conspiracies. But there has to be an equal, either an equal stigma, or both have the same opportunities to make money off of those crazy claims.
I would like, and shout out to Lil Duval. I would like a Lil Duval activist, like somebody like D-Ray who's just like, so I'm here, you making money with your activism, bitch. I'm balling. You know what I'm saying? I want him to be like, yes, you know how much money I made? I'm making so much money, man. I'm balling. You know what I'm saying? These fucking jets.
So, okay. All right. No.
Like, fuck it. Be honest.
That's a curious idea. Because, okay, you can apply that same argument to pastors that run like these mega churches and make a whole bunch of money, right? Hold on. Okay. Because
No, I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this is my own personal slant. We all have our own personal slants, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you shouldn't lie to people. Now, me and you are going to have a conversation.
Yeah, we're going to have
at some point, okay?
Other series about
Unusual Suspects podcast. Tune in. Me and him are going to have a conversation about religion, about intelligent design, all that good stuff. But right now, what I will say is, I don't believe in hustling people. I'm not saying that religion is a hustle. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is the fact that there are people.
A lot of it's a hustle. I mean, not all the time, but niggas.
But what I will say
on Tuesdays, them niggas hustle.
But what I will say is the fact that if someone is talking about cops who are choking niggas out and beating motherfuckers up, and you're fighting to stop that, that's not a hustle. And if someone has donated, let's just say to your company, let's just say your company is called Jared Against Pigs Beating Up Niggas, right? And someone donates $30 million, your operational overhead is going to increase, right?
We need new coffee machines, nigga. We need a popcorn machine.
Gold coffee machines.
We drinking out of gold coffee
So my
cups.
clarity in my mind will work better. You know, so I'm trying to help y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not. It's very simple.
But okay, the reason I brought up the whole pastor megachurch thing
Oh Lord.
And obviously, it's not quite the same. But
oh my
and
Lord.
it has a similar. God damn it! It has a similar analogy
Spin
to it. So,
yeah.
so look, because a lot of people believe that it's perfectly fine for a pastor to run a mega church, make a bunch of money, and drive a Rolls Royce and have a private jet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On the other side of that, a lot of people are really uncomfortable about that. So for activists, if more people were comfortable with activists making money, what if it became a much more sought after career path?
Mm-hmm.
And potentially you raise a generation of more activists. Well, I guess my only issue is I don't know if that would corrupt the whole process of actually being an activist that's very much interested in fixing problems, or then it becomes your motivation is just about making money.
I think that ultimately across the board in life, there's always a spectrum. The spectrum is everywhere, and you will have like the people who talk about people who have dreadlocks and speak about Jah and love and police brutality, and then you have Bob Marley.
Yeah.
And you can see the people, you can be like, you're a fake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are not a true Rasta. You don't really actually fight against this. You're trying to make money.
Right.
Like Justin Bieber starting a mega church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Mace starting a mega church. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like there will always be that spectrum of what is true and what is not true. And I think at that point, it comes down to people with healthy diets who can actually see through the bullshit and be like, this is not real. And I think once the real pops up, like, for example, like there have been a few people, not many, but there have been a few people who are trying to shift into Kendrick Lamar's lane. But you can see the authenticity.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think ultimately, hopefully, with the influx of information and we know it's real and we know it's true, like the people who are bullshit and about bullshit, like mostly the conservatives and the Republicans. Most of these, not all of them, but most of them.
Like 90%.
They know when they are co-signing bullshit. They know.
Oh, yeah. No,
they know they co-signing bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Fully
so even
aware.
on both sides, like I understand I'm dealing with a program as opposed to like someone who truly believes. Because if someone truly believes something, I can sit down and talk with them and be like, yo, my man, like explain to me like why are you really upset?
Yeah,
as opposed to like what do you mean why I'm really upset? Oh, you about that bullshit.
Right.
Because honestly, you would want to share that information.
Right. And you can tell when someone is just pulling from talking points and what they're actually giving you their opinion and something that they actually believe or don't believe in and something that they're passionate about. It's actually because we're seeing that a lot now in the news with all these, politicians. You have all these different Republican senators that are till this day still defending Trump. And then it becomes, but dude, he's full. Like, he's lying. But like really basic facts. Like, let's not even get into, is there a Russian scandal or whatever. Like, no, this dude lies about really simple stuff. Like, he could be lying about the size of his crowd as an inauguration, but there'll be people who defend it. Then it's like, okay, you're really just protecting the platform. This has nothing to do with what you believe.
Let me tell you something. This is some real shit. Is the fact that empathy is the most important thing. I say this a lot, right? So, for example, a friend of mine, an associate of mine, is pro-Trump. This person doesn't know they're pro-Trump, but they get very huffy and puffy when they speak about that. And this person told me, just like, did you hear what happened in the news? They're talking about Russia. They're talking about all this. But you hear about the pedophile child rape sting? They found all these people, like Trump found these people and like under his administration, and they saved all these people, so and so and so and so. But from my perspective, I was just like, did you hear what he said to the police officers about like removing the hand when you push them down and hit it? Or like, first of all, what you don't understand because you're not me is the fact that I could be that person that got pulled over and profiled because I'm a black male, and all of a sudden the cop can fucking punch me and hit my head against the side of the thing. You don't see that. I'm not a criminal, but they see me as a criminal. But you don't see that. the same way a friend of mine, we were trying to have the distinction between voting for Hillary, even though she is a cricket.
I mean,
voting for
two
Hillary
evils.
or voting for Trump, and how I spoke to someone. I was just like, look, I had this conversation a million times over. I know what this evil is, and I know how to maneuver this evil, right? And it's the same evil that I live every day in America.
Right.
But the empathy of hearing another person who's Haitian saying, do you know what she did in Haiti? I was just like, oh, shit. So it is a different view or aspect. Like,
Right.
you have to learn empathy and maneuver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I can definitely say throughout politics, throughout activism, just throughout day-to-day life, especially in this country, we are lacking a lot of empathy.
Oh, yeah.
It's very rare where people are even willing to hear out your viewpoint
Yeah.
of something that's going on.
So going back to the original question of at what point when you are a celebrity or successful or you have money or a platform, when are you
responsible to be
a requisite for you to support like certain activistic like things, right? The question is like, who determines what activism is? Or what is activism? Like, is it based off of what we believe, me and you? Or is it like unisex bathrooms? You know what I'm saying? Like what is activism? Is it only for, well, I guess we're pretty much talking about black celebrities and black issues.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Because that's from
we
our
black,
viewpoint,
nigga.
so that's what we're thinking about the most. Because, okay, here's how I kind of see it, at least initially. And, like, my idea on this has changed a lot. Basically, all right, if you're in a position, especially when you're talking about people who are making money, who are successful, if part of your career, part of your job is in the same realm, you're making money in the same realm where people are adversely affected, and you say nothing, I think that's where you have a responsibility to say something, right? So, let's say, what would be a really good example for this?
Say it, nigga. Say it.
So, okay, like, take the NFL, right? You have this whole Kaepernick protest.
Yeah.
To my count, and, there's only be a handful, but one of the only football players who have stepped up and defended Kaepernick has been Richard Sherman. He's one of the few that's been kind of vocal and says, look, it makes no sense why this guy doesn't have a job right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, Kaepernick, at least from what we're seeing right now, is clearly being blackballed by NFL owners because they don't want to get involved in any of the backlash from all these, racist cats that don't want Kaepernick on the team, and just this uneasy feeling that Kaepernick is challenging the norms of how the NFL operates and the relationship between players and owners.
Slave owners.
If no other NFL athletes, if no other coaches, no other owner steps up and say, hey, this is an issue, you guys shouldn't treat him this way, I think that's where responsibility kicks in, because you're seeing something, it's in your league, it's in the same area where you're making money from. Because think about it, other black NFL players are thinking, look, this dude's making a stand. Hey, I might agree with what he's arguing, but I'm not trying to mess my check up.
You know why? I think. No, you're right.
I get why.
There's two things. There's a, and I'm sure you understand this, but there's like board of directors of the brand, right? So of course, if you jump in there and you affect the brand and you affect the money of the brand, you can get kicked off the board, right? We all know that, right? But I also think the fact that we are at the point now to where I started thinking, I don't know if I even like the term woke, but I will say the fact that people are waking the fuck up. And I think America's waking up to be like, oh shit, okay, this structure that we had is kind of fucked up. We know it's fucked up. And even the people who have like, were used to it being fucked up is just like, okay, we feel bad about it. Okay, like let's slow down. But there's still businesses that are making tons of money millions and billions of dollars off of that.
Right.
So they can't even dip their toe in it, because once they do that, all the other players would be
business.
like, oh my God, the whole business structure will flip out.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, yo, why is a quarterback getting paid more money? Is it because most quarterbacks are white? Why is the so-and-so's going down? Like, why can't, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? I want to rock an afro. Why can't I wear a fucking afro pick on my shit? You know what I'm saying? Why can't we have watermelon in the motherfucking room when I work out, nigga? The fuck? You know what I'm saying? I gotta wear a suit. I gotta wear a suit.
Have watermelon flavored Gatorade?
That's what I'm saying. I gotta wear a suit. No stripper poles in it. No, stop. Now I'm being racist.
No, okay. So another good example, like let's say you're a guy that, like, you know, you play around the stock market, you invest a little bit of money here and there. Let's say you're a person who put money into private prisons, and let's just, for argument's sake, let's say you were completely
balling.
You'd be fucking rich. Don't do that shit though.
Real shit.
So imagine you did that, but for argument's sake, you don't know how private prisons work. You don't really know how they make a bunch of money or how this is. Just for the sake of the argument, right? Yeah. But you have a bunch of money in it, and then big news story comes out, says, you know, private prisons are monetizing from prisoners, effectively slave labor. They're getting paid 10 cents an hour to make your fucking license plates.
Wow. And
they also have contracts with the state that if they don't fill a certain amount of beds, that they can actually fine the state a certain amount of money, and that's where your money's going. And you're like, oh my God, that is an atrocity. But I'm making so much money. At that point, it is now your responsibility
to let them know, hey, them niggas over there selling weed. You need to. I think it's that third house on the left. We here at.
I can't fucking stand you.
I'm just playing. You're right. And at that point, once you are informed, you cannot monetize off of that shit.
You just start snitching on everybody. Fill up them beds.
The third house over there. But yeah, I mean, that's some real shit. Like, once you are awake and you're awake to what your investment is, you have to shift, because at that point, if you believe in a higher power, right? If you believe in universal laws, right, which is God. If you believe in universal laws, then you understand the fact that once you are aware, you have to move accordingly, because then you're going against nature, or you are actually like a cancer on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, you're doing some dirty shit. Yeah.
If you're making money off of the suffering of others, then yeah, you are definitely a cancer on society. You're a cancer on Earth.
And you're not trying to better the planet. God damn.
So, you know, in a strange way, as much as I don't like to, I'll give people a little bit of benefit of the doubt when they're not educated on a topic, when they're not educated on how certain things work. Now, obviously, I'm always pushing to people, hey, you need to learn about certain things, you know?
Going back to the original thing about investing in ACLU or the nigga from Compton that wants to start a fund. Yeah.
Right.
You have to know what you're investing in, because you don't know what type of energies that you are contributing to in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's some real shit.
Because it's really simple. And you can't even really blame just like the regular consumer that much, because, you know, obviously business is a big part of how a lot of different people get taken advantage of, and, you know, you have all these different scandals that come through the free market. So it's really easy to just walk around and you're buying all your regular products that you normally buy. You're eating at the same places you normally go to just because you like them or it's affordable for you, but you're not aware of how their corporate structure works or how they really make money.
That's true. That's true.
And sometimes it takes a while for people to even find out. A lot of times, it's not until there's an investigation or somebody leaks out some information you realize, like, oh wow, like Chick-fil-A was out here, you know, kidnapping chickens from Mexico.
Absolutely, man.
You know, so
I'll never stop eating Chick-fil-A.
That's a tough one.
It's so good, man.
It's so fucking good. But the dude that owns Chick-fil-A is a fucking...
No, he's out of his fucking mind.
He hates gay people. Why the fuck he's closed on
fuck.
Sundays? That's blasphemous.
Nah, you're right, man. You're right. Damn, I'm gonna have to stop eating Chick-fil-A, man. This shit is crazy. How do you feel about? Here's my question. How do you feel about? Damn, I got two things in my mind. How do you feel about reverse activism? People who use real shit for bad, right? Like people who are talking about reverse racism, how like black people are racist against black. Oh, the new shit with Trump, where he's investigating schools for keeping white students out to allow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, all right. The problem is,
we stayed off of Trump.
We tried to.
And then last episode we stayed off of the Kardashians. God damn, I'm fucking shit up, man. Shit.
No, but this does apply because yeah, you know this whole story about how the Department of Justice is now reviewing affirmative action cases and white people being discriminated when it comes to college applications and things like that. And actually, I was reading this really interesting Twitter thread about the type of things that white people believe that are really unsubstantiated knowledge.
I got someone we're going to bring on a podcast.
So a lot of the times, and you know, this is a lot of information they either get from Fox News, but a lot of times really they're getting from their parents or grandparents or their uncles. So they're saying, oh, well, if you're black, you can just go to college for free. And it's like, well, where the hell you do that? Oh, well, my Uncle Billy told me that all you have to do is sign up for affirmative action and you can get to go to college tuition free. It's like, what makes you think that black people are out here going to college? First of all, there would be a lot more black people in college if that was the case. All right.
I don't know, man. Do you kind of feel like... I kind of like when people think like that. Like, I don't know. Just to be honest with you, man, like someone that... Well, you have to educate people. You have to educate people, but... There's certain people you can't educate, man. I don't know, man.
Yes, it is very difficult to educate certain people, but I also think it's in our interest for the bulk of the population to at least have a basic understanding about the way our country works, the way our laws work, the way we interact with each other, being in a civil society. There is just basic knowledge that we all should have that would make us a much more productive society, would make our civilization advance a lot quicker. Because here's another interesting thing. I actually want to do a whole nother series on this, because what a lot of people forget is civilizations can regress technologically, culturally, and when it comes to education. That is very much possible. Case in point, after the fall of Rome, Europe fell into what we know now as the Middle Ages or medieval times. It's all about futility. So it's very possible for us to lose things that made us once great because we no longer educate ourselves. We rely on our most basic instincts and basic natures as opposed to what we've learned over time and basically forgetting our history and allowing us to regress in our society.
So we have to fight to make America great again.
Make America great. When was it great? Tell me what year America was great.
Oh my God, bruh. If we get into this.
What year?
What year was America great? I would say America was great.
For everybody.
I'll tell you when America may have gotten. There was like a sliver. It was like 2 months in the 1960s where I would say.
Is this before or after they shot MLK?
Oh, this is before 64. Okay. This is before 64. Is
I'm
when
about to get you.
when everyone was kind of like maneuvering. People were investing into their spots. Harlem was popping. People were investing. I think that was after they bombed Black Wall Street. God damn. They didn't have a lot of dope.
Is this before or after
the German Shepherds?
the Tuskegee syphilis project?
It was after.
It was after. Oh, goddamn.
It was after, and
That's a damn shame.
and I think that it was more. It was before the drug epidemics. I think in 1960s there was this, like, jazz was popping off. People were investing into their stuff. They were cleaning up. It was right before the Black Panthers. Like, I think it was like a small little, like, 4 months where it's just like, okay, everything's cool. Everyone, y'all over there, we over here, we chilling. It's cool. A solid 4 months, America was okay. You know what I'm saying? But god damn, that shit is, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? Let's just go into, like, athletes.
Okay.
Right. How do you feel about? Okay, activism.
I know what you
right?
want to talk about.
You already know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
So you got activism. People are like, hey man, the white man is doing this, right? How do you feel about? Perfect example. Mayweather, Conor McGregor. Right?
Okay.
So right now, Mayweather is talking about. We can go deep in this shit. Mayweather is saying how they are using. Conor is using his swag to step into his position, even though he's still monetizing off of it. And how Conor was saying a whole bunch of racial terms, like calling him a boy, and saying, "Oh, did you see the whole shit about the monkeys?" You know what I'm saying? So he's playing up. I still think that that's kind of like an homage. I still think that this is all like a front, and that's kind of like an homage to Muhammad Ali versus the dude that the Rocky movies were made off of.
Is it the Russian dude? No, not the
no,
Russian
no.
dude.
This dude was from like Jersey or some shit like that, and he was trying to make him say that like he called Muhammad Ali a nigger, and then like they would make it like a race war, whatever, and get more people in the seats and make a ton of money. So I don't know if he's actually doing that, but yeah. How do you feel about him now? Like, pulling the black card, I guess. Like, do you think he's pulling the black card? Or do you think he's really like upset? Or it's a hustle?
He was trying to. It's hard for me to buy that only because, Mayweather was one of those guys. Like, look, there's a lot of black people. Once they make a certain amount of money, they feel like they're set apart from everyone else, right? And then they kind of get into their own bubble.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Charles Barkley, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Was the nigga from ESPN, the dude with the fucking
fat boy with
the fedora,
big man with the little hat, big man little hat, tight shirt, that guy,
the size 3 New Era. They get into this bubble and they feel like they're set apart from everyone else, right? Just because they're rich. It makes it harder for me to buy the black card after you see how they operate.
Yeah,
because they have so much money and they can live an isolated lifestyle from everyone else.
He's not really. Trevor Noah said it best. He's just like, you get enough money to where you're black, but you're no longer black. Like, you can maneuver. Yeah, like you can walk into a situation like, oh my God, Trevor Noah. You know what I'm saying? People already know you, so you already have the white card, after, which can be taken away from you still at any second. So you're still revoked. A nigga.
It's a temporary pass.
That's what he said. He says it's a temporary pass.
Because remember, in Beverly Hills, when they first built Beverly Hills, black people weren't allowed to walk around in Beverly Hills. You had to get permission from someone who lived in Beverly Hills to walk around.
You want to hear something crazy?
What?
I don't know if I can say this. I had the opportunity to speak with Lionel Richie directly. And he said that when he was in the Commodores and he was shifting out of the Commodores to his own shit, and everyone was investing in a bunch of stuff, and he got some Jewish investors, and they were just like, you need to start buying property. So he started buying property in Beverly Hills. Right. And I think at one point he owned like 60% of Beverly Hills land.
What?
Yes. But a lot of people don't know.
That's crazy.
This may be bleeped out. I got to reach out to my friend to make sure I can say this, but it's real estate, and yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy.
So temporarily, he was allowed to walk around the property that he owned.
Right.
Yeah.
That he paid for.
Yeah.
So that card can be revoked. So that's the only thing
Absolutely.
that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Like I don't want to talk down too much on him because there's not too many
Successful
black people, but that nigga need to pay his taxes.
And let me tell you something. He needs to pay his taxes.
Just pay.
And reading is fundamental. But listen, I would also like to say
HookedOnPhonics.com.
The reading rainbow.
This is the most disrespectful.
Here are the Unusual Suspects podcast. We are, this is all.
Okay, we did hit the 1 hour mark. So real quick, make sure you guys are following us on all of our social media. Unusual S Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Today we are talking about activism. We're talking about when is it a responsibility for celebrities, rich people, really successful people to step in and weigh in on these really important issues. They get talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that it's really hard to determine, and it's in some ways unfair to say that a person has a direct responsibility to speak up about something. Yeah. Unless they're in a situation where they're profiting off of someone else's pain.
100%.
That's when I say, without a doubt, it is your responsibility to step up.
Absolutely. And and those people should step up in the way that is natural and organic to them.
Right.
So
Don't just try and steal all the limelight.
Exactly.
What's actually much more effective is when you look to the people who've been doing the work, and maybe they don't get all the shine, that are very, very educated on the topic, and say, hey, I will use my platform or I will use my financial situation to help spread awareness and create a system where there is an effective change.
Or maybe someone like a black youngster can fund the person who can actually make change.
That's, as much as I hate saying this is how you need to do activism, because that's not my place to tell you how.
Exactly.
But I do also say it's probably in everyone's best interest if you're not a guy that's well articulated on the subject, but you're in a good financial position, then put that money behind someone who does know what they're talking about.
Shout out to Chance the Rapper. Perfect example. Investing.
Exactly.
In Detroit.
Investing in especially
in the black museum.
Yeah. Investing in the things that you truly believe in.
Yeah.
That's always really important.
Yeah, that's absolutely necessary.
Most definitely.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes,
is this
sir.
a pass off? Like right here, we hit the hour mark?
Yeah. No, I think this is solid. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Unusual Suspects podcast. My man Corey Will in the building. Check me out at
I am King Jedi on Instagram. Absolutely.
You can follow me at JaredM_Bruce on Instagram and Twitter. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
We will be posting new content all the time. And we're going to be diving into a lot of different topics. So as always, comment below. Let us know the type of things you want us to talk about. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about doing some other smaller videos, touching on other topics that we're really passionate about. So thank you guys again. We really appreciate all the viewers. And we will be back very soon for more Unusual Suspects.
Brat.
Peace.